Hello and welcome back. This is Christopher, the boy dad. I know I'm in a different setting. I had a few minutes before my gym session. I hope everybody had a good week, good past few days. I'm gonna be kind of brief. I say brief. I hope I'm brief, but I have a kind of a lot to say on this topic. So I was again doing my Bible study this last week, and something popped in my mind whenever I was reading through Genesis again. And the verse is going to be Genesis chapter 3, verses 6 through 13. So basically, I wonder what was going through Adam's mind or thought process whenever the serpent had approached Eve, why did Eve even yield to the serpent? So anyway, keep checking the video out. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Basically, it's kind of those verses go over what Eve did or yielded to the serpent, and then how Adam reacted or not. So basically, like, the serpent approached Eve, said, "Hey, why haven't you eaten, of the tree of, the knowledge of good and evil?" And Eve basically is like, "Well, I mean, God told us not to eat it or touch it. That's the only tree we're not supposed to eat or touch." Now, there are some different Bible scholars or different theologians that basically think like, God didn't necessarily say don't touch the tree. He just said don't eat of the tree. But we, as men, know that basically, like, if you look and then go further than looking, you end up doing further than just touching. You do way more than what you're supposed to. So maybe Adam was like, not Adam, maybe Eve was like, well, we shouldn't look or touch. But that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. The three things that I kind of want to point out with these verses is that, Eve was approached by the serpent, and then Eve yielded to the serpent to where she made a decision that God had already told him not to do, to where she decided to look at the fruit, feel the fruit, and understand what the fruit was going to do for her. So in the scriptures later on, you'll hear the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and pride of life. And those three things that is really what Eve kind of did. She saw the lust of the eyes and seeing how the fruit looked, the lust of the flesh, seeing that the fruit or the fruit looked like it was tasted good, it was gonna be good for her flesh. And the pride of life, as in like she was gonna have the knowledge that God would have had. Which is, it's kind of crazy to think that she yielded to an animal talking to her, but that's neither here nor there. But later on, you see that Eve decided to eat the fruit, and then not only eat the fruit herself, but give some fruit to Adam. And Adam, being the man that had the direct commandment from God, just kind of put aside what he said and was like, "Oh, I'll eat it." And then on top of that, Adam directly, like, once they ate the fruit, they gained the knowledge of good and evil. So then they knew that they were naked, they knew that they did something wrong, they tried to hide themselves. And then, like I said, so let me just go over the three points I'm talking about. So with these verses, and we can learn directly as men, as fathers, as husbands, or even men that are maybe real relationship with their significant other, their girlfriend at the moment, or their fiance. We need to learn to lead our women, our spouses, our girlfriends, our wives in every situation. So we can see that Adam in this situation, he didn't lead or protect her at all times. If he was leading and protecting the way that God intended him to, because God gave Adam Eve as a helpmate. So Eve was supposed to be helping him, but Adam was supposed to be protecting and providing for her, to where basically they were hand to hand. And if Adam was leading and protecting as he should, then he would have noticed or seen that something out of the ordinary has happened. So he would have noticed that the serpent was trying to talk to Eve. And I mean, I know in my day and time, my dad taught me, you see a snake, you kill it. Now we are figuring out that some snakes, even though I think a dead snake is a good snake, but there are some snakes that eat other snakes, right? There's garden snakes, king snakes that eat snakes that are poisonous or that can wreak havoc. So Adam could have been like, hey, Eve, don't even listen to that. He's like, why are you listening to an animal anyway? And there are some Bible scholars that think, hey, animals could have spoke to people back before the fall, but who knows? We weren't there, so. But Adam should have been leading and protecting her no matter what. In any situation, he should have kept her away from the serpent or kept her safe from the serpent, right? The next thing is, even after they made that decision, after he yielded to Eve and took partaking the fruit, the first thing he did was, oh my goodness, we're naked. We got to hide ourselves. So basically, Adam and Eve ate the fruit. They tried to hide themselves. They tried to get clothes, make themselves clothes. And then God basically figured out and said, hey, where are y'all, Adam and Eve? And Adam's like, well, we hid. And he was like, why'd you hide? Why are you saying you're naked? And he was like, well, we ate from the fruit. Did you eat from the tree of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil? And Adam's like, well, the woman that you gave me, that I ate the fruit that she gave to me. So the second thing that I think as men, we need to take some accountability for the decisions that we, and I mean by like me, myself, and my wife make, right? Because a lot of times, even for myself, my wife may make a decision, and then I'm like, well, why did you even do that? But it really falls back on me, is that why did I not teach or discuss enough things to where she would make a decision like that? And that's not I'm not talking from a standpoint of like controlling your wife, but I should be able to lead and protect my wife enough to where she would make the right decision even when I'm not present, right? So as men, we need to make sure that we are leading and protecting our wives and leading and teaching. And I hate to use the word training, but leading and teaching as though God has led or taught us, right? Or trained us to where we make the right decisions, to where our wives, our girlfriends, our spouse makes the right decision, right? So we need to take accountability for that. If she makes the wrong decision, that falls back on us. It doesn't fall on her. Now, a lot of people will say, well, she's her own person. Yeah, but Adam directly, was the head or the lead of their family, right? So he gave her the commandment, like God told us not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So that was on him, right? Now, because they are the individual people, God dealt differently for them later on in the scripture. And then the third thing is that we should acknowledge when we have done wrong, right? Because Adam basically was like, I'm gonna put it on Eve, and I'm gonna hide my stuff. I'm gonna hide the things that we've done, right? So basically, we should always make sure that we, as men, take accountability for the decisions that we and our spouses make, and we should acknowledge when we are in the wrong, right? Because a lot of times we don't. I will say, for instance, I made some decisions, and I just will try to avoid acknowledging that, like, that was a dumb decision, and then it always come back on me though. So just take accountability for the decisions you and your wife make. Acknowledge when you've done wrong, because I'm pretty sure that I don't know if to say that I believe that God would have dealt differently if Adam and Eve had said, God, we're sorry, we did eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I believe that obviously there was still another tree of the tree of life. So, this is, now I'm just going to, I hate saying going rogue, but I'm going rogue. I believe that God probably would have not allowed them to partake in the tree of life, but he may have allowed them to stay in the Garden of Eden if they had to just acknowledge, say, yes, we did partake in the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but hey, I'm a human. God is definitely God, and you can read the scriptures for yourself, but the three things that I think we need to learn from Genesis chapter 3, verses 6 through 13 is that we need to lead and protect our women at all times. Lead and protect our spouses at all times. And what I mean by that, if we lead, discuss, teach, follow God, that will go into our spouses as well, to where they make the right decisions even when we're not present, right? And I don't mean make the right decisions for like me, Christopher Watson, but make decisions that will be pleasing to God. And then number two, take accountability for our decisions that we make, right? Sometimes we make dumb decisions, but we got to take accountability for that. We got to be men about it. Number three is we got to acknowledge when we do wrong. We got to acknowledge when we make dumb decisions. All those things, I believe, would have made Adam all the things made Adam a perfect man, but because of those things he didn't, made him an imperfect man. So we need to strive to do those things every day, right? We need to lead our women every day, lead our women, lead our spouses, lead our families, take accountability for the things that we do, good or bad, and then acknowledge the decision that we made, acknowledge the wrong that we do, acknowledge when we do something wrong, acknowledge whenever a decision we made affects our family. So, what do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. If you like this video, click the like button. Please share it, that'll help the channel out. And we will see you in the next video. Stay blessed.